Howdy folks, this here is my Ruger Super Wrangler that I got recently. I mostly got it because it's got fully adjustable sights, but I want to test it. I want to know how accurate it is. Here, I've got a Heritage Rough Rider. I'm sure you all know about those. And this is my old trusty ringer, an H R Sportsman from the 40s. What I really want to know is how accurate this is compared to the Heritage and the Sportsman. What I want this for is carrying around while I'm deer hunting. I can take this with me, get grouse, rabbit, squirrels, whatever, for camp dinners. So it's really important to me that it's as accurate as possible. I don't want to have to carry a long gun 22 with me, and in our area you can't shoot grouse with center fire rifles, so it's not like I can just use my deer rifle to get a grouse. So from 10 to 15 yards away, I want to be able to shoot them right in the head, not ruin any meat. So what I've got set up here is a target 15 yards away, and we're going to go through and do 6-shot groups with each gun. I'll throw out the outlier out of those 6 shots, and then we'll measure the groups and see how accurate they are. So let's set up and give it a try. Let's go ahead and get all these loaded up. I'm just going to use these Winchester silver tips because that's what I had around them to use. The same ammo in all 3 of these. Let's get them all loaded up. This Super Wrangler loads just like a Colt 45. Got a little door you open. Same thing with the Heritage, except to turn the cylinder, you got to go 2 clicks back. And this H&R is a brake action. I think that's what was already in it, but I'm going to go ahead and put new ones in it just to be sure. This is a 9-shot. But I'm only going to load it with 6. I love this thing. The only problem with it is after you shoot with it for a while, it gets pretty gunky. And it doesn't like to turn the cylinder. Check and make sure I'm putting it where I want it. I'm going to put it on an open chamber. Okay, they're all loaded up. Let's start shooting. I'm going to start with the Heritage. I'm going to do, like I said, 6 shots. I'm going to be as slow and careful with them as I can. I'm not testing the accuracy of the firearm. I'm testing the accuracy of the firearm and me together. So things like comfort and grip, that'll make a difference. The weight, that'll make a difference. And you could have a completely different result. But for my purposes, I want to see how well they do. I'm going to shoot all of these as a single action so I can get the most accurate as possible. And in most situations, I'm not going to be doing any quick draw shooting, any quick firing in a practical situation with small game. I'm not going to take shots unless I can set up properly. So I will have the time to use them single action. And in this case, the Heritage is single action only. So it'll be a more fair comparison. That's a pretty good group for me. I'm not much of a shooter. Got another target loaded in there. Next, the Super Wrangler. Now for all of these, I'm aiming right at the center. So, and these may not be sighted in perfectly. We're just going for group size right now. Not nearly as good a group. Here's the H R. I think that's probably a better group than the Super Wrangler. But probably not as good as the Heritage. But I think what I want to do is I want to do one more group with each, just so we can help eliminate any crazy factors. I've got the time, might as well. And then we'll pack all this stuff up, go back to the house where it's warm, and we'll measure all this out and actually see what was better. So let's not do another group with the Sportsman. I had a couple of hang fires on the first group, so I'm going to go ahead and load this full just in case I need to skip one. It's definitely a better group than the first one with the Sportsman. Back to the Super Wrangler again. One more group with the Heritage. And then I've got another, I don't know, 30 or so rounds that I brought that I'm just going to play around with. Now let's have some real fun. So this is an old semi-automatic 22. I think it's based off of a Walther PPK, but it's a cheap Italian thing. Let's try that and see what happens. I love this thing because it's fun, it's easy to shoot, anybody can do it, it's really easy to load compared to a lot of semi-automatic 22s. You don't have to actually shove the rounds in the magazine. I think it holds 9 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 10. Okay, let's try that. It will be really interesting to see how this compares to the Revolvers. I'm going to put up one of these paper ones and have the rest of my fun. I put the safety on. Did you see how I jumped when I pulled the trigger? Didn't chamber around. Didn't chamber around again. I've noticed with, maybe it's just the quality of the firearms, but I've noticed that for some reason 22s just, no matter what kind of 22 handgun I have, it just doesn't seem to work that well. It's probably the quality. It's not like I'm spending a bunch of money on these things. So I've had all of these for at least a little while, and here's the big question. If you're just playing around, plinking, target shooting, going out with the kiddos for a day, which one do you want to shoot? We can kind of throw accuracy out the window for that. You're not looking for perfect. Which one would you want to shoot in that situation? Geez, what did I only get 4 out of that one? Good grief. Yeah, we got 4. Rimfires just don't seem to be as reliable as any kind of center fire. So which one would I want to shoot? Boy, here's the problem. I kind of want to shoot them all. They're just fun. If I were going for accuracy, I think the H&R is probably the one that I would use. If I were just having fun, you cannot beat that Heritage. It's so cheap. It's so accurate for what it is for the price. They look cool, and the loading and unloading process slows you down. So if you've got a 1022 with a 30 round magazine, you can go through a pretty good chunk of money in rounds pretty quickly. But the loading and unloading process of that Heritage, it just slows you down, and it makes it an entertaining process. The Super Wrangler, I bought it because it has fully adjustable sights, and it cycles better than the Heritage, or excuse me, than the H R Sportsman. The Sportsman, I could probably get it to cycle better, but I haven't put any time into trying to figure it out. It just isn't reliable. But they're heavy, and this is almost twice the cost of these Heritage revolvers. I don't see, other than the adjustable sights, if you get one of these that you can get adjusted where you want it, I don't see any reason to buy a Super Wrangler. I just don't. That is all the ammunition that I brought. Everything's empty. Got a bunch of brass. So let's pack this up. We'll go back to the house and take a look at those targets. See which one was more accurate. A pretty steep hill here. Put the chains on the front of the truck for the drive down. Got highway tires on it. Put the camera right there so we can see if anything goes crazy. If I slide off the mountain, I might as well get a video of it. Low range, low gear, we'll just go down slow. back off the hill, kick the chains off, and go home. Here are the targets with the best groups from each of those 3 revolvers. I'm going to eliminate the furthest away from the group, and then I'm going to measure the group. So this is from the H R Sportsman. I'm going to eliminate this one and measure between these 2. That'll tell me how nice of a group it shot, how tight of a group it shot. I think those 2 are probably going to be the furthest apart. I'm just going to eyeball the centers here. We're not going for dead-on perfect measurement of these. Yeah, those 2 are the furthest apart. So there's the center, 2.09 inches. See if I can mark on these. 2.09. Okay. The heritage. We're going to throw out the furthest away. So measure these 2. So that's going to be the furthest away. So we'll throw that one out and we'll measure the 2 closest besides that. 2.40. And the Ruger Super Wrangler. Obviously, these 2 are wild. So we're going to eliminate that one. We'll use this one. 2.98. 2.98. There we go. It's pretty easy to see that Super Wrangler. It just is not accurate enough for me. It doesn't work for what I want it to do. The Heritage is the runner-up, but that old H&R Sportsman, which is from the 40s, it's real hard to beat for accuracy. Here's the real interesting one. This is that semi-automatic 22. So obviously this is going to be the furthest one away. We'll eliminate that. And let's see, is it these 2? 2.476. Yeah, it's going to be these 2. So what do we got here? 2.5 something. That's a little more. These 2 looks like are actually the furthest apart. .58. Where did I put the pen that was just in my friggin' hand? I'm pretty great. What did I say it was? 2.58. 2.58. Even a semi-automatic short barrel 22, it beats that Super Wrangler. I don't know what is going on with that thing, but I don't like it. So the reason I wanted to test this is that just playing around with it, shooting clays sitting on the ground, shooting targets. I've had it for almost a year, and just playing around with it, I noticed that it just didn't seem as accurate. So I wanted to actually test it, and I'm glad to know that I wasn't crazy. It could very well be that it's the sights. Maybe the sights just don't work for me. Maybe it's the weight. I don't know. But for whatever reason, that thing just does not shoot as accurately as any other 22 handgun I've got. So maybe it's just this one in particular. I don't know. But that's my experience. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something.